Again, I assume. You guys, I'm sorry, I had to end that because it didn't look like it was working. Maybe some of the internet, but MK Karen is here, so perhaps we're all good. I just see one of you though, which is kind of weird. So say hello if you're seeing me. Right? Hi there. Hi guys. Okay, good. We're back online. Sorry if you guys had to switch that stuff up. I don't know what it's like on your end. Oh, we're all good. Okay. Good. Oh wow, here we are. Fabulous, you guys. Much better visuals. Who knows? It's. I got weird internet. So we're thinking about Raw Story, and this is for Linda, where we were talking a little bit about the investigations, and there's a judge involved. So first of all, let's see about Barr killing a bunch of investigations. So far, I see that Barr has done this, and that they are Russian, and that he's going to get in trouble for it. Getting interrogated. Barr does not do well getting interrogated. He's not a very good liar. And they have some kind of evidence from his desk drawer, like something in the drawer is showing it. This is really serious stuff. Very serious for national security. The people that are interrogating him look like straight up FBI, and they're very upset. Barr seems to be realizing how much trouble he's in this image. Okay, so what about this judge? It's a district court judge, Chief Judge Beryl Howell. This judge, her eyes are widening. I think that she doesn't necessarily know what's going on. She didn't know he did that. She seems surprised in my image. Now the issue is she is implicated in all of this. She seems very upset about it and very angry. And she's kind of pointing to him and says, you know, you're supposed to be the head lawyer for this nation. You know, how can you lie to me? Yeah, there is much more to this story. This is a really good question. There is much more to this story. She's pointing out a bunch of people. I think they were specific investigations into specific people, maybe Corey Lewandowski, who were attached to the president that he killed. And when I say that, I mean he killed the investigation, not the people. She's pointing to a bunch of people. The judge is pointing to a bunch of people who appear to be in a courtroom that is packed. And she's like kind of righteous because she's been fooled. She's absolutely outraged. Barr will be judged for this. Don't be surprised. Barr will be very seriously judged, and it won't just be like a conversation. This is a court of law. It's not the Senate we're asking questions. It's a court of law. I think that Barr might go to jail. That's how I see him. One thing about the Epstein case is that a lot of people are focusing on how rich people get different justice than the rest of us. Because Barr's there with his, gold ring, his, class ring, like, hey, I'm one of you guys, you're not really going to do that, are you? He thought his class would save him. And it's becoming more and more obvious that that's not going to work anymore. It might be that a lot of the people who thought you were going to be saved are on this list. You guys notice, if you guys go take a look at Epstein's the Lolita Express and how many people are going to that island. Every single one of those people, they blocked out their names. There are thousands of people who went there. These are all high-profile people, really important people. And all of them are implicated in this, and all of them, they have a list of their names and the girls who massaged them in a list. Take a look on the internet. Maybe I'll be able to attach this here. And all those guys are going down. These might be Republicans, that might be Democrats. These are all people who are wealthy, positions of power. All of them are going to be exposed. Don't underestimate the fact that the Southern District of New York is now got a list. All of those people are going to be called. And if you just search YouTube and you search, victims of Epstein and listen to the words that they say, this is not dissimilar. Ooh, did Barr have something to do with that? He knew about it. Yeah, and Barr is connected to the whole Epstein case. Barr's dad hired Epstein to teach at his school, although they were not qualified. He wasn't qualified, but this guy was tutoring, Epstein's dad hired him to tutor, young girls at a very exclusive private school, although he didn't even have a college degree. Why? It's weird. Epstein and Barr, I think Epstein could get Barr in a lot of trouble just if he said something, but I think this is going to mushroom up into a big deal. And I see big deal, like explosive kind of stuff. Barr's in very serious trouble. He's going to do his best to manage this, but he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have the ability to control it. This will go completely off the rails. Anything else that we can know about Barr? Okay, there's a grave. Somebody died. And it's not Barr's grave. Somebody died. Somebody was killed. Barr knows about it. I tried to cover it up. That's what I get out of that one. Wow. Let's see. Charlene asks about Kamala Harris, and she was told, I think by another story, I think it was Violetta, but it might be Linda G, said that there was a scandal for Harris. Okay, and I'll let you guys know this is a little weird. I try not to read on other readers because it's just not professional. So let's just let's get that out of my brain. I keep thinking about these two readers who I really like. Let's just divorce it from anybody else. What will be the? Are there anything going on with Harris? I keep seeing Harris with a gavel. I see her with a gavel. I don't know if that's because she's the district attorney. She seems to be sitting in an important position. It doesn't feel like the president, because the president doesn't sit at as a judge per se. They're a different branch of they are the executive. She feels more like she's really powerful in this situation. Maybe she's the president, but this has a feeling of judge. I personally would love to see her as the U.S. attorney, and I'd like to watch her attack every single one of these people. But people have power in different ways, and that's how she seems really comfortable wielding it. She's a very serious person. You're not going to put anything over on Harris. Is there any kind of controversy? Well, you know what? This was a while ago. It just might be the controversy of some people accusing her of not being, African American enough. What I see is like a tiara that she's wearing, and it's like, oh, she's some kind of elitist. Speaking as Dave Johnson, I do not believe any of this nonsense. I was bussed, just like Harris was bussed. I was bussed. I loved it. I thought it was just great. It was wonderful to be going to school with people from all over the spectrum, and they were really awesome, to tell you the truth. I liked them a lot more than the white guys I got in fistfights with on the bus. Harris, let's see, tell me any more about Harris. It doesn't seem like such a big deal. It seems like there is something, some people have pegged her as somewhat of an elitist, maybe, but because she does have this sort of crown on it. It also seems a little bit imperial. I think there are some people who do have issues with the way that she was a district attorney and that she wasn't particularly sympathetic or progressive in her role there. But so you know how she's got this tiara, she takes it off. She doesn't feel too worried about it. It's just kind of there. And she's like, yeah, she's shrugging. Any other kind of controversy? Maybe there is, she's biting her nail. I mean, it's a little bit she's worried about. Anything else that she's worried about? Okay, well, there does seem to be a little bit something on the horizon. Maybe electrical storm on the horizon. I actually see a hurricane. And there is a circle in the hurricane. It passes, there's that eye where everything's quiet and silent. Okay, so these issues, which are sort of being, attached to her, they feel like they will pass. They might come up again a little bit. That might be an issue that she needs to talk about. Remember, Kamala Harris is not particularly progressive in her actions. I think she's progressive in her form, and I think she's the attack dog that puts those questions to those people. But I think the fact that she's not as progressive in some sense might be a little bit of her undoing. But it doesn't seem to really sink it. Again, I keep seeing her at this desk with a gavel. Maybe she's the U.S. attorney. She could take William Barr's job in the future. That would be one way that she would be sitting at such a desk. It could be that she's a vice president. She seems in her power in this situation. So I think there may be some controversies coming up, but she will overcome them, right? And I'm just going to ask Spirit right now. There's a little bit more time here. If there's somebody else I should read on, Ivanka. Ivanka, what's going on with Ivanka? Lots of worries with Ivanka. So Spirit, tell me more about Ivanka. She's kind of circling with this sort of like flag, like white flag around her that she's sort of fluttering around. This is actually to keep people at bay, and she's failed to do that. I wonder if this is even in connection with her father, that she couldn't control him. I get disappointment, circle of people coming closer. She appears to have given up. And I think that is the real significance of Ivanka, is that she's given up any idea that she can control her father, and she's starting to give up on her father. I think if she has not turned already, Ivanka will be the first to turn on him, and it will break her father's heart. Spirit, anything else that we need to know about Ivanka? Yeah, the crown has fallen. It's in the gutter. She's being kind of left with nothing. In an emotional sense, she's not feeling anything. She's kind of just in a state of shock. Notice, she got her comeuppance. She got some real pushback for the last time she tried to insert herself politically. And notice that it was Macron who put that video out. Yeah, those Europeans are not fond of her. Yeah, he did a number. Macron did a number on her, and he has no regrets. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. One surprising thing you might notice about this is when Americans do stupid things like we do, it unites other countries. So, France kind of got united under Macron when they saw, here's a political alternative for you. Then they were like, oh boy, well, maybe Macron is not so bad. And also, they kind of all went, touche, Macron, touche, once he made a fool out of her. French people really appreciate when you make a fool out of somebody who deserves it. French people appreciate that kind of wit. They are they've been through it all politically. All right, so let's see. I'm just gonna see if you guys have anything that you want me to read on in the next couple of minutes. Let's see. Uh, 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 uh. Yeah. Huh. Now, look, I'm just looking at Joanne's comment here about the important thing is to get Trump out of office. The Democrats should focus on that one goal and not have their usual tribal warfare during the primaries. This is such a good question. You know why? Because I'm there on Facebook with some more, centrist people, even progressive people. They're very worried, like, uh-oh, if we go too far to the left, it won't work out. I'm kind of arguing, no. The events right now that we're seeing are actually moving all of us left. If you are a regular white dude in the middle of America and you've got a choice between maybe a more socialist person than you really like, maybe let's just suppose it's Warren and Trump, what will you choose? I think there's a really important point going on here to let people know that they are being defined by these kinds of choices. And more, I feel like average regular American person is going to say, you know what? I have to fight this, even if I don't 100% agree with those people. Let's just check it out. What about this let's just ask, what should Democrats do to win? I get Democrats on the news talking about issues. I also get them not necessarily, how the reporter asks a question, not necessarily like being in the same camp as the reporter. I think that Democrats do need to call the reporters out on their own biases and say, that's a stupid question. And that's what I kind of get. It's just like her going, oh, yeah. I mean, they're just the reporter themselves, whether they're progressive, being a little bit chastised. And one thing about that is good is people like Elizabeth Warren who can approach this show that they can beat Trump whenever they're chastised, and it could be anybody else too. Anybody else coming up for the Democrats? What would be a good thing for Democrats to do in order to win? Look, the Democrats have to unite the party under one banner, right? I'm pretty progressive. I'm pretty far to the left. I'm still capitalist, right? So I'm not all the way to the left, perhaps. Maybe I would even say I'm a social democrat or something like that. There are some people who are closer to the middle. Democrats have to figure out a tent that includes all of those people. Healthcare would be one issue. The more you see Republicans attack Obamacare, the more powerful the left is going to get. The more that Democrats can, highlight what they are there for, and it really can just be Trump, because Trump is such a perfect archetype of what you don't want. It really could just be that. You have to show America, first of all, that you're fighting, and number two, that you can come up with some kind of slogan, some kind of idea that, just like the terrible Make America Great Again, Nancy Pelosi said, Trump wants to make America white again. Boom, there you go, Nance. That was really good. We need to have that kind of umbrella, the one sentence that tells us what Democrats are, what they believe in, return to the Constitution or whatever it is. it doesn't just have to include Trump. It could include a whole body of ideas, return to normalcy, whatever the words that these wordsmiths come up with. Somebody's got to be smart enough to come up with that one sentence, that one paragraph that you can spit out that unites all of those people together. Hatred of Trump is certainly a big plus. That's very uniting. But at the same time, can we have that hatred of Donald? And could we have that as well as something that asserts our other values, like, healthcare and fairness and, putting child molesters in prison? Could we have something that says that? And that would be more ideal. That would really help. I see a whole spectrum of people on the left actually kind of standing together, arm in arm. They're all the way one side or the other. Again, one thing that Pelosi has recently done is come out and say, hey, look, I'm not copping out to those racists today. She really stood up for them and showed everybody like what she's willing to take today at the House of Reps. If you have a chance to watch, she came out and risked a lot to say Trump is a racist. And that's tough to do. You're not supposed to say that. That was not an easy thing for her to do. Okay, so what else? Also, Dems have to understand this hierarchy of what people need. And that's what maybe the left has lost sight of. What do people need? People need healthcare. People need food. People need to be treated equally. People need whatever. They have to come up with this sort of almost like, the hierarchy of needs. I think it's Malthusson that creates that, and show number one is this, number two is this, about issues, not just about, no. You always find these mealy-mouthed politicians and they're never saying what they really believed. But this is more, it feels like they're getting it together. And it can't just be statistics. Statistics don't move anybody. You can look at the statistics and try to figure out what they really mean. And, nothing about the statistics told us that Trump was going to be president in general. Nothing about those statistics. Just following them is not leading. Find out what people really want and put them in a category, put them in a hierarchy, and keep stressing those points and coming back to them. You realize you don't need to trash Trump. He trashes himself every day, right? Not to say that you shouldn't, but that's not what the Democrats even need to do. What they need to do is just go stand there, talk about what they believe in, talk about the changes that they're going to make, talk about what they think, and let Trump bury himself. That doesn't mean you won't respond, but respond quickly, get back to the points of, healthcare, equality, fairness, opposing racism, get back to the, main points, and, fight tough this time, guys. We got to fight tough, go for it. Bring up Epstein. At every moment, you should be bringing up Epstein. In Trump's face, you should be asking that every single day. That's how you attack. Okay, anything else about the Democrats and how they could be united and more effective? Look, you got a sword, use it, right? Stop being polite. And again, I often tell this to my clients. Look, I want to hear you roar, right? I want to see you go out there and use your power in ways that you can. At least, in this time, we're not getting burned as witches. So we can go out and we can do some of these things. It might not work the way we want. It might take a long time. It might be really stressful. It might be horrible to watch the things that they're doing. But we can't just be idle right now. We got to pull that sword out and we got to use it. And I don't want to in any way suggest any kind of violence. The sword is the sword that cuts through to the truth. The sword is the sword of, truth and power. The sword has, edges on it. You can cut through the BS. Cut through the BS stems. Get to the main points. Get to the truth. Don't get watered down and arguing about, what Trump says you should argue about it. Cut through, dismiss it, get to the point. And you know what, you guys? I got to tell you, I'm getting the message from Spirit. This is going to work. This is working. That's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing Pelosi in the news today, not Trump, but Pelosi is in the news all day long today. Whatever you think of her, it's not Trump that's holding this agenda. It is, people like Pelosi. And remember, although that I may not think that Pelosi is progressive enough, maybe others don't think, she is really smart and she knows how the system is going to work. And we would all do well to work together. Pelosi has something to learn from the far left, and they have something to learn from her. That doesn't mean you have to concur on everything. It does mean you do need to kind of work together, work through your differences, and back each other up. In my image, those four women who Trump attacked the other day, they look a bit more satisfied today. It sounds like, okay, Democratic Party is listening to them. That's where we need to go. All right. So Spirit, okay. Anything more that we should talk about today? Anything more? Spirit's just sending love to all you guys. Sending love and appreciation for the things that you're doing. Understand that, Spirit is available to you. If you feel down and depressed, call on Spirit and ask for help. Again, be sure that whatever is helping you is in the highest good, and you can say that. You can say this to the wind. You can say this in the middle of a forest. You can say it quietly at work. Spirit, can you help me now? I'm feeling depressed. I'm feeling sad. This is breaking my heart. Bring me some power, bring me some strength right now. It's totally available to you. It's more available to you than to a bunch of people who are not spiritual. Those are usually, in my experience, more Trump supporters. This is an availability for you. Use it. Take advantage of the change that's happening. And feel that, feel your victories, you guys. Feel the victories. There are victories going on left and right. There are victories every day that people are able to do. Today is an example of the victories that we are seeing in our Congress even. Believe in this. Believe that this is going to work out. It's not finished yet, but it's looking better every day. All right? Seems that's all Spirit has to say. Thanks for joining me. If you guys want to continue this process, I'm going to say that if you give this $7, you do not necessarily have to give it to people at the border anymore. Any progressive cause, any cause that helps people, any causes that moves the justice forward, any cause that stops the abhorrent racism that we are seeing. I don't care who you donate it to. Ideally, you'll send me the receipt for whoever it is so I can learn more about that organization. Whatever it is, just send that with your question. Please don't make your question too complicated. Sometimes these are paragraph-long questions, and it's just difficult for me to really address it because there's so many material here. Try to distill it to one question, and don't make it about yourself, because I don't want to go online and talk about your personal life in front of everybody. That's just kind of weird. So again, just to summarize, any donation that you want to make to any cause that helps us move towards a better democracy, it could still include money to kids at the border or to people who are under attack right now by the Trump administration. Any donation along those lines, if you even want to make it directly to a politician that's running against Trump, I will totally accept those along with your question. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.